Hi everyone, Jason Brzali here with Kasco, inside sales customer service or customer support lead, and spring's in the air and it's AquatiClear time. Welcome to Ponder This. Earl G writes, what problems does it address? Earl, AquatiClear was designed and engineered to move floating debris and floating and non-rooted vegetation from a stagnant area to somewhere else. So those would be the things that AquatiClear addresses. Chris E writes, what kind of debris will it clear? Are there limitations? Chris, this is a good question. I don't know specifically if I'm going to give you like items that it will or won't move. I would say if it's able to float on the water surface, AquatiClear will be able to move it around. But then again, boats float, and I wouldn't expect AquatiClear to be moving a boat. So within reason, any sort of debris that would be considered trash or vegetation that's floating would be addressed by AquatiClear. Buck R writes, what safety measures need to be taken? Buck, fantastic question. Thank you for bringing that up. I'd say first and foremost, never entering the water when our units are electrified. Just good practice overall. Number two, make sure that our unit is plugged into a working GFCI protected outlet. We make this easy with all of our 120 volt units. You get a GFCI tester in that box. That might be the first thing that I would do if I was installing one at my house, is I would check to make sure that outlet is working fine. And then the obvious, if you need to adjust this and it's running, probably don't stick your hand down in the water to try to clear it out if it's caught with debris. Kathleen M writes, will this clear muck on the bottom? We get this question all the time. We want to be good neighbors, and we want to be good stewards of our environment and follow the rules and regulations. Wisconsin, Minnesota, and other states have rules that prevent dredging, and using AquatiClear to clear out muck can be considered dredging. So these were designed and engineered to move surface debris and floating non-rooted vegetation, and we would always recommend it to be done in such a way. Joel G writes, are these allowed by the DNR? Short answer is yes. Longer answer is yes if used to move stuff that is only on the surface and not disturbing the bottom, because they can consider that as dredging. Like a lot of these questions that we get, we like to say, please default to your local rules and regulations and verify that it is indeed legal in your area. Gertrude M writes, what is the cost to operate? Another thing that we get quite often, and Kasco makes this pretty easy, on our website under the Tools tab on the top right corner of the screen, we have an electrical cost estimator, and it all depends on the horsepower, the voltage, to a lesser extent, and then of course how many hours a day you want to run it. But Kasco makes this easy, and I strongly suggest that once you have your kilowatt hour, you go on our website and take a look at it, because it is going to give you a really close estimation. Yanni B writes, I bet the neighbors love getting all the debris. Yanni, this does bring up a good point. Kasco really suggests that you be a good neighbor and not purposely move things that is collecting in stagnant areas from your spot to someone else's. Pointing it out to the middle of the lake is probably a better solution than to one side or the other. But these things clear 75, 100, or 125 plus feet depending on the horsepower. So maybe be a good neighbor. Oscar A writes, will this protect my dock in the winter? Another question that we get quite often. We do not recommend that AquatiClear is used in the wintertime when you have walkable ice forming in the northern parts of the United States. The plastic tines here and the distance between the prop and the tines could allow a larger chunk of ice to wedge in there and damage your motor unit. So AquatiClear in the warm water months, open water months, de-icers in the cooler weather months. Stacy O writes, great until a child swimming unexpectedly stick their finger or toes in there, and then it's a disaster. Yep, that would be a disaster, and Kasco never recommends running any of our equipment or any electrical equipment while somebody's in the water. So please follow through with that #1 safety feature that we have in all of our owner's manuals, especially AquatiClear.
Stacy, one other thing that when the Casco recommends in terms of safety when people are in the water, two things. One, make sure the unit is unplugged, and after it's unplugged, uh, lift that whole unit out of the water so that no wandering hands can get into the prop area. If you have one of our universal back mounts with the simple swivel, it's as easy as loosening up one or both of those locking handles and just moving that whole unit out of the water.
Lucas C. writes, what about the fish? Like with other products of ours, small fish, like less than fingerling sized, could probably be affected by the current, but anything much larger than that might even be attracted to it to the point where they can use it as a feeding highway and they are not in any risk of being sucked into the current that this motor is producing. Gerald Y. writes, the manual mentions replacing the mechanical seal. Will it leak oil if not serviced? Gerald, first, thank you for reading the manual. Not everybody does that, but that's super important to get a good working knowledge of how AquatiClear is going to be set up. The answer is yes. The mechanical seal is a wearable part. We say a basic rebuild is going to be needing to take place every 3 to 5 years, depending on usage. But if you don't address it sooner or later, that is a leak point for oil. If it's time for your unit to have that basic maintenance done, Kasco strongly recommends going to an authorized repair center. They've been trained by our repair team, and then any item that was fixed will carry a 1-year warranty. Jesse A. writes, Kasco, explain how this contraption draws water in from 360 degrees around the unit and at the same time push water out. I think what Jesse is seeing is that since we have a round can, from behind the unit, this prop is going to be drawing water from 360 degrees around the back of the canister. But if you want to visualize the AquatiClear sitting horizontally like this, it's going to be pushing the water one direction, but behind the unit, it's going to be drawing water from 360 degrees around the unit itself. Jesus R. writes, does this just keep floating debris away or does it keep weeds from forming in the area too? Another question we get asked quite a bit. I am very hesitant to tell anybody that rooted vegetation is going to be mitigated with our units. Could it? Maybe. But I am way more confident saying any chopped up debris and chopped up vegetation from boat motors and all that other stuff that collect in stagnant areas, that is what the AquatiClear is going to directly address. Martin C. writes, would it help in a tidal area? Help to keep silt sediment out if a slip along a tidal stream? The short answer with this one is yes. We have plenty of folks that live in tidal regions that are using AquatiClear successfully. The tide brings in debris and this can help push it out. The one thing that I would really recommend is making sure that this motor stays submerged when it's on. So if you're going to run it 24 hours a day and low tide is going out, make sure you got enough water to cover this thing so that it doesn't overheat. Maynard J.K. writes, do you guys install? Kasco has one facility in Prescott, Wisconsin. That's their home office. We are very fortunate to have a very good distributor network, and quite a few of those distributors do actually offer install services. So if you have any questions on who is your nearest Kasco installer, please don't hesitate to call the customer support line. Tanner M. writes, electrocution comes to mind. Safety is always a big concern of ours. So again, any of our units, whether it's AquatiClear or anything else, if anybody's going to be in the water, we just recommend not running these things while people are using the water. Luke B. writes, do you have to run it all day and night? Luke, that's a fantastic question. I think a lot of people, when they first install AquatiClear, they're surprised at how quick AquatiClear will move the debris that was collecting in their stagnant areas. And so the answer is no, you don't need to run this all day and night unless your install requires that. A lot of times in the morning before the lake gets busy, or at night after the lake is done getting busy, is an hour, 3 hours, 5 hours is enough to clean out your area. But again, each install is going to be different. Boyd R. writes, I see the cost goes up depending on cord length. Why can't an extension cord be used? Boyd, great question. The National Electric Code says extension cord should only be used for no more than 30 days, and it is a non-permanent fix to a very, very, very short-term issue. So extension cords generally end up bad. People don't size them right, they don't get outdoor rated power cords, and even if they are sized right, voltage drop is always an issue, so it is best just to get the Kasco power cord in the correct size from the get-go. Terrell M writes, we are having trouble with it creating a water vortex. Any suggestions? Terrell, fantastic question. I'm glad you asked that. In certain installs, generally when that motor unit is closer than 3 feet to the surface, there is ventilation or that vortex that can form just because the prop is getting a little bit of starved of water. So we have a shallow water install kit. It's an add-on. Not everybody needs it, but that shallow water install kit tethered to your dock mount is going to take care of that vortex, and it happens instantly. Julia M writes, price? Julia, yes, we get this question a lot, and price depends on a few different factors: voltage, horsepower, cable length, and then if you're going to buy just the motor with the float mount or the dock mount. So may I suggest and direct you to the website. On our AquatiClear page, there's a link that has view pricing for AquatiClear. Click on that, and that'll give you all of our options and all the mount options, all the voltages, all the horsepower, and all the cable length.
Jose A writes, how deep does the water need to be? Jose, wonderful question. We love our customers that are being proactive. 2 measurements are probably important. One from the unit top to the surface, and then one from the bottom of the unit to the bottom of the lake. So what we say is, if you're going with these standard install kits, if you have 18 inches of water from the top of the canister to the surface, you're good. And then if you have 12 inches of water from the bottom of the canister to the pond or lake bottom with a 1/2 horsepower motor, that would be sufficient. Bottom of the can to the bottom of the pond increases a little bit. If you got a 3/4 horsepower or a 1, that would be 24 inches. If you have the shallow water install kit going back to the top of the canister to the pond surface, you can get away with about 1 foot of clearance between us two. It's all going to be install specific though.
Trish P writes, how do I get power to it? Trish, a couple different things. A lot of people that have docks have power right on the dock for boat lifts, that sort of thing. If not right on the dock, really close to shore. And if not close to shore, then there's probably an outdoor outlet somewhere on the property. Again, it goes back to making sure you have the proper size power cord directly from the factory to accommodate that cable length run. Killian M writes, can I install it myself? Killian, absolutely. I'm about the least handy guy that I know. I can't be trusted with hand nor power tools, and I firmly believe that I can install AquatiClear by myself. Frank J writes, where should the unit point? Can it be customized or adjusted to fit different shapes or shorelines or docks? Frank, good question. And again, I think this is going to be a site-by-site, install-by-install answer. But to fit your needs, I think the nice thing about the simple swivel is once you clear out an area that doesn't need to be addressed anymore, you can loosen up that top locking bracket, turn it over to another area, and then lock it down and then have it address that. In terms of where should it point, about the only thing that I would say is, especially in Wisconsin and states that have regulations against dredging, probably don't have it pointed straight down to the pond or lake bottom. Horizontal or slightly pointed upwards would be our recommendation. Nelson K writes, what if there is wind or wave action on the lake? Will it affect performance? Nelson, great question. Yes, there's various climate and environmental factors that can affect the performance of AquatiClear. Wave action, prevailing winds, current, a lot of those things, bottom topography of the lake or pond, can all affect how far and what sort of area of influence we can expect with AquatiClear. Sam D writes, should I use a dock mount or horizontal float? Sam, that's going to be, the answer is going to be related directly to your install. If you have a dock, the dock mount is considerably more popular than the float mount. But if you don't have a dock or don't want to drill into your dock, or you just like the idea of being able to have that AquatiClear be moved to various parts along your shoreline, then the float mount is probably a good option because you can move it to basically wherever you'd like it to go instead of having it fixed on your dock. April L writes, I live on a public lake. Is it legal? April, I think this just goes back to what your local or state regulations say. In Wisconsin, as long as it's not pointed down, dredging the bottom, if it's pointed horizontally or upwards, you can use this on a public waterway. Different lake management districts may have different regulations, different states may have different regulations, so it's always good and always recommended to check those out before you purchase. Jonas W. writes, what horsepower do I need? How much water will it clear? Jonas, again, we got a lot of questions. We get, it's an install and a site sort of situation by situation thing. One thing that we do inside here when we get phone calls and emails, we a lot of times ask for an address so we can check it out on Google and make some measurements. And then we can provide for you a picture of what we would expect AquatiClear to clear in your specific area at various horsepowers. So different horsepowers will clear different areas and areas of influence, and how you install it on your dock also would make a difference too. So any questions about what horsepower is right for you, please don't hesitate to give us a call or an email. Santiago S. writes, does the pump leak oil? Boy, I sure hope not, Santiago. One thing we get a lot with calls and emails is the term pump. And technically, this is an electric motor moving a prop. No water is pumping through or inside of this unit. So it is a sealed unit that has some hydraulic oil on the inside to keep things lubricated and help dissipate heat. If it is leaking oil, there's probably a faulty seal, and that unit should be sent into an authorized repair center. But overall, it should not leak oil. Thanks for watching this installment of Ponder This. I'm Jason Brzali, Casco's resident educator.